Hey everyone, Dr. Castillo here again with Spanish Chiropractic Success. Today I want to talk about day 2 financials. This is an important day. This is when the patient has already come in, they've done their history, exam, maybe you've done maybe a preliminary adjustment or therapy, and now they've come back and today is the decision on whether or not they start care. Hopefully you have an education process, and if you're able to go over that in Spanish, great. Now, when you get to the financial portion, this is where things can get interesting because people are going to decide whether or not they trust you and whether or not they're willing to fork over hard-earned cash in order to start care. So typically, I have to first kind of spell out all of my cash plans and be able to interpret everything from a Spanish standpoint. Being able to say, like, this adjustment is $50, or every time you come in, it's this amount. Or this plan consists of 30 adjustments, and then you can make payments on this day of the month, for example, or you can do it all in one payment, right? You have to be able to say that in Spanish. And believe me, it looks difficult at the beginning, but once you get in the habit of explaining your care plans in Spanish, it actually becomes kind of robotic at the end of the day. So I'll kind of give you kind of like a little spiel that I like to give when I'm doing my cash plans. I like to spell out what the cash plan is worth from an insurance standpoint, if they're not going to use insurance. And then I tell them that the discount that we give in the clinic for using cash. And I always try to make people comfortable if, for example, they are using insurance. I say, oh yeah, a lot of people use insurance. This is a really good plan for you. And if patients come in and they don't have insurance, I make them feel comfortable and say, hey, a lot of people don't actually use their insurance here in our clinic, and this is the best option for you. And in hindsight, most people actually use cash. A lot of people don't use insurance simply because the insurance benefits in our area aren't very good for chiropractors, specifically in our networks. So we'll go into just a little bit of a spiel. Feel free to comment down below if you want specific, like, other numbers that you want me to go over or other types of plans, but I'm just going to go for it. So I might sit down with the patient and say, all right, so vamos a repasar ese plan de tratamientos. We're going to review this plan of treatments. Mi recomendación para arreglar la causa de tu condición or tu problema es este. We'll say 1,500, I'll say. And that's with insurance, we'll say. And then I'll say, a causa del plan que tienes, no estás usando aseguranza médica, voy a dar un descuento. All right? So because this plan, you're not gonna be using insurance, you're gonna be using cash, I'm gonna give a discount. We'll say, el descuento es 500. So este es el descuento, 500, which is 500. En total, el plan o el costo del plan is 1,000. We'll say 1,000, that's 1,000. And then I'll say, hay opciones para ti para cubrir este plan. Si quieres opción 1 es solamente un pago con otro descuento de 10%. I'll say, hey, this is a plan, you can do it for one payment, and we're going to give you a 10% discount. So we'll say, what would that be, 900? So it'd be 900, right? So you should be able to go numbers. You should be able to say your numbers. So we'll say 100 is 100, 200 is 200, 300 is 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, and then 1,000. That's 1,000. And then 2,000 would be 2,000. So you should be able to say those and kind of play around with those numbers. If you want specific videos on that, just give me a holler and I can put out extra content with that. But for our purposes, we go with option 1. Option 2, we just went over option 1 being one payment with a 10% discount, so that'd be 900. And then we can do option 2. Entonces, opción 2 es 4 pagos. All right, so haciendo un pago mensualmente, that means doing a payment every month, de 250. All right? Y por 4 meses vas a hacer un pago cualquier día prefieres durante el mes. And then that's basically saying, hey, you're going to make a payment every single month for $250, and then you get to choose what day of the month that is, whether you want el 15 del mes or el fin del mes, Vas a decir a la recepcionista qué día prefieres. You're going to say to the receptionist what day you prefer. First, to get a yes statement, I'll ask them, ¿me entiendes con estas opciones? And then if they say yes, I'll go, great. ¿Cuál opción prefieres para comenzar tratamientos hoy? What option do you prefer to start treatments today? And then I just shut up. And then I wait. Right? Silence is powerful. And then you let them think it over. If it's pretty straightforward, a lot of times they'll just pick either option 1 or option 2. If they start to hem and haw, or maybe go like, ooh, I don't know if I can do this, doc. Maybe in finances is a problem, or perhaps you weren't able to convey the value strong enough during your day 2, which is okay too. We're not perfect. But let's just say they're not able to pick either option 1 or option 2. You can say, hey, this is the treatment that we do pay per visit. Cada ajuste en la clínica es, and then say the number. If it's 60, it's 60. If it's 50, it's 50. So you can say option 3, técnicamente. You can say like, si no quieres una de los dos opciones, podemos comenzar con tratamientos y puedes hacer un pago cada vez. You can do a payment every single time you're here is basically what I'm saying. Cada tratamiento aquí en la clínica es 50. We'll just say 50, just to make it easy. Depending on where you live and what your prices are, you obviously use what price it makes sense for your clinic. But I give that as another option, a pay per visit option. And people actually do take me up on it a lot of the times. You'd be surprised. And then they end up doing the recommendation that I give them for whatever it is, 20, 30, 40 treatments. So that's the pay per visit option. And if they say yes, I'll say, like, for example, do you agree? ¿Estás de acuerdo con este? And then they'll say sí, right? And then I just gave them that pay per visit option, have them sign here. I say, vas a firmar aquí y pone la fecha. Hay preguntas para mí antes de comenzar tratamientos hoy. I ask them, hey, do you have any questions? And if they say no, I say, vamos a comenzar con terapia y ajuste hoy. And that's it. That was kind of a comprehensive, like, day 2. I make sure to tell them exactly how many treatments we do, what the treatments consist of, and then I tell them option 1, option 2. Obviously, option 1, in one payment, we give them a discount, and option 2, we divide the payments into 3, 4, 5 months, depending on how long the treatment plan is, what their recommendation is. Option 3 is the pay per visit option. And that gives them the ability to just be flexible and pay per visit. And some people just want to do that. They just want to bring their cash in and do it like that, which is totally okay. We like to give options here in the clinic. So hopefully you guys learned a little bit more about day 2. Day 2 is very important. You have to be able to convey your plan in Spanish. You have to be very aware of what numbers you're using during your plan so that you know what to be prepared for. And then once you get used to what numbers you're talking about, you really aren't going to use any other numbers. So it's just remembering what numbers are pertinent to your specific plans. I'm going to sign off, and you have an awesome and blessed day, Doc.